Hello everyone, welcome to the daily current affair analysis from Veranda IAS. Today we are going to see some of the important current affair topics from the day of 13th of July 2023. Moving on to the topics of the day. So as usual, we'll be discussing some of the questions from 2023 prelims, and after the question discussion, we'll be moving on to the article analysis from Indian Express titled Uniform 28% Tax on Online Gaming, what the GST Council's decision says and its implications which can be mapped to GST economy. And after that, we'll be discussing about the summer scheme, new implementing partners, which can be mapped to GS2 governance, after which we'll be moving on to the global multidimensional poverty index, which can also be mapped to GS3 economy. Moving on to the question discussion from Prelims 2023, let us see the statements. Consider the following statement. Jhelum River passes through Vula Lake, Krishna River directly feeds Kolleru Lake, meandering of Gandak River formed Kanwar Lake. How many of the statements given above are correct? Which is a question from geography, only one, only two, all three, or none of this. Okay, so you should understand that Jhelum, a significant intertributary, rises from a spring at Verinag, which is found in the southern portion of Kashmir Valley at the foot of the Pir Panjal. Okay, so before entering Pakistan through a deep, narrow gorge, it passes through Srinagar and the Vula Lake. In Pakistan, close to Jang, it joins the Chenab. So we can say that the right first statement is correct. Then, two rivers use the Kolleru Lake as a natural flood balancing reservoir, and water from the cyclical Budameru and Tamilnadu streams directly feeds the lake. So we can see then more than 68 inflowing drains and channels connected to the Krishna, but it does not directly feeds, and also you can see that these channels connect to the Godavari system also. So we can see that it is not directly connecting or feeding the Kolleru Lake. So the second statement is wrong. Moving on to the next statement, we can see that a meandering of Gandak River formed Kanwar Lake. So the Kanwar Lake in Bihar, the largest freshwater oxbow lake in Asia, it was once a haven for migratory birds but is now a dying wetland ecosystem, and it is a residual oxbow lake that resulted from the Gandak River, a tributary of the Ganga meandering. So we can see that the third statement is also right. So the right answer to this question is option B, that is only two. Only two statements are correct. Moving on to the article analysis from the Indian Express, Uniform 28% tax on online gaming, what the GST Council decision says and its implication. Let us have a holistic analysis of this topic based on the current affairs. Let us see the context first. Recently, the Goods and Services Tax of the GST Council decided to levy a 28% tax on the full face value for online gaming, casinos, and also horse racing, which was the news, which was very trending in the social media. So the government is now expected to bring in a legal amendment to facilitate this in the monsoon session of the parliament, and also it will enable inclusion of online gaming, horse racing under the auctionable claim. While the government has maintained that this decision is not intended to disrupt or to completely destroy one industry, however, the online gaming companies have raised many concerns about the impact of this move on the industry, and also it is likely to affect the volume of trade or transactions happening in this industry and also viability of the gaming companies. Now here, with mapping with respect to GS3 economics of the UPSC syllabus, let us try to understand about the GST Council. So you should understand that it is a constitutional body that is responsible for making what? Recommendations. This portion is very important. Okay, so GST Council is a constitutional body that makes recommendations on issues related to the implementation of GST in India, and as per Article 279(1) of the amended constitution, the GST Council has to be constituted by whom? By the President within 60 days of the commencement of Article 279A, and the Council has been instrumental in deciding key issues related to GST such as tax rates, exemptions, thresholds, and also administrative procedure. That is, it is a making recommendation on these important topics, and the final decisions of the legislative action have to be taken by the legislature in the upcoming parliamentary sessions. During its meeting, the GST Council takes decision through a consensus-based approach. Every decision of the GST Council shall be taken by a majority of not less than 3/4 of the weighted votes of the members present. Okay, so this here we are explaining about the composition and the operational functions of the working of the GST Council, and the voting with a weightage of 1/3 of the total votes cast to the center and a weightage of 2/3 of the total votes cast to the states, promoting the spirit of cooperative federalism. Another important main topic, cooperative federalism, is also coming in with respect to the governance point of view. So here you should understand that how much weightage is being given to the central and states for the decision that have been taken and is being put forward for voting in the GST Council. Moving on to the next subtopic, what is the decision of the GST Council for online gaming, casinos, and horse racing? So as we already said, 28% tax will be applicable on the face value of the tips purchased in the case of casinos. on the full value of the bets placed with bookmaker or totalizer in the case of horse racing, and on the full value of the bets placed in the case of online gaming. So this is how that split is going to be happen with respect to the application of 28% tax. So how big is the online gaming market in India? Definitely we should understand that. That is why there's a greater chunk of transactions or market is there with respect to online gaming in India. That is why it is there in the news, or it is having that prevalence in the current affairs, right? So the revenue of the Indian mobile gaming industry, it is expected to exceed $1.5 billion in 2022 and is estimated to reach $5 billion in 2025. See the potential of that particular industry. And this industry in the country grew at a CAGR of 38% between 2017-20 as opposed to, so when we compare this kind of a growth with the other countries like that of China and also US, we can see that we are comparatively in a much better phase as such. Okay, so in China over this period between 2017-20 only 8% growth was shown by the online gaming industry, and for US only 10% of the growth was shown by the online gaming industry in US, whereas 38% of the CAGR. What is CAGR? The compound annual growth rate. Okay, so the compounded annual growth rate of or the complete growth of that particular industry over those particular window period is being compared with China and US as well as India. Then who will get impacted by this decision of increase of the GST? So the decision being applied indiscriminately to gaming and gambling platforms also, that is including of casinos and horse racing and also online gaming industry. So this includes companies that have spent years in lobbying efforts to create a distinction between a game of skill, that means a kind of an online gaming or a casino culture. So this kind of a culture building or an awareness creation among the population of a country, which is one of the most populated country in the world. So that was not an easy task, right? So if any one particular company has invested a lot in this gaming industry, means they have done that much investment with respect to the culture creation of that particular gaming industry. So it is going to be affect these particular gaming companies also. Then a game of chance, essentially trying to distinguish themselves from gambling platforms. As such, online gaming is perhaps the only segment of the internet economy that has multiple highly profitable companies which exist in our country. Now let us see what is the government stand, what the government is saying about this thing. So government agenda is not to end any industry, as all types of businesses have to function, but there was discussion on the moral question of not giving more incentives to them than the essential goods. So what government is saying that yes, we are not trying to disrupt any industry, but we are not going to incentivize them. Rather, there are much more essential goods and services that have to be promoted. So we have to include those particular essential goods and services in our lower tax slabs, and these kind of online gaming, horse racing, such kind of luxurious services or the goods as considered should be put into higher slabs. That is what the government is saying. How will the tax work in the real life of people? So we can see that at present most gaming companies were paying a tax of 18% application on the platform fees, distinguished based on the fact of these activities being games of skill such as fantasy gaming platforms. However, when it is reaching 28%, it will be applicable on the entire face value of the bet. So we can see that in most of the gaming platform, bet kind of culture will be there. Consideration paid and not the platform fee. So meaning that for every 100 rupee deposited in that particular gaming company, the GST on it will be rupees 28. So what can be the conclusion if any kind of such mains question have been asked? So decision of the GST Council to impose uniform 28% tax on full face value for online gaming, casinos and horse racing, it is in a right direction, which shows the balanced approach of government of not completely ending this industry. Rather, it creates a high level playing field for essential goods under GST tax rate vis-a-vis bet or chance-based games. So rather than compared to the bet games or the online games, we are giving more incentivization for the essential goods and services, and government is not coming forward for completely disrupting or destroying one particular industry. So this is a very good conclusion as a UPSC aspirant. If a mains question is being asked diplomatically without going against the government's decision, we can give the conclusion for the mains answer writing as such. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Moving on to the next topic, global multidimensional poverty index. Let us see the news. The global multidimensional poverty index report, This particular report highlighted that a total of 415 million people moved out of poverty in India within 15 years, that is from 2005-6 to 2019-21. When they analyzed, 415 million people moved out of the threshold level of poverty. And also it said that 25 countries including India were very successful in halving their global MPA values within 50 years, showing a rapid progress that is attainable. And the report noted the deprivation in all indicators declined in India, and also the poorest states and groups including children and people in disadvantaged caste groups had the fastest absolute progress also. In India, those people who are multidimensionally poor and deprived under the nutrition indicator have also declined, and children under the age of 18 account for half of the MPA poor people, and the poverty rate among children is 27.7%, while among adults it is 13.4%. And countries halve their MPA in periods as short as 4 to 12 years. That means within 12 years itself, many countries have halved the poverty levels. Now let us see a little bit more about Global Multidimensional Poverty Index. Who is the one who is developing this index? It is by United Nations Development Program or UNDP and the Oxford Poverty and the Human Development Initiative or OPHI. So please do have a understanding of this, and do remember Global Multidimensional Poverty Index is developed by UNDP and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. Okay, shall we proceed further? Moving on to the Samarth scheme, new implementing partners. So let us see what is the news. So the panel of Samarth scheme implementing partners has been broadened with empanelment of 43 new implementing partners. An additional target of training around 75,000 beneficiaries has been allocated to the training partners. So the funding pattern, if you see, it has been revised with an increment of 5% in cost norms, which will give additional financial support to industries who are importing this Samarth scheme. Now let us see what is this Samarth scheme. So Samarth means scheme for capacity building in textile sector, which is a demand driven and placement oriented umbrella skilling program, which is mainly aimed to incentivize and supplement the efforts of the industry in creating jobs and also in organized textile and related sectors. So the Samarth scheme is incentivizing what? Incentivizing the efforts of the textile industry, basically covering the entire value chain of textiles, excluding spinning and weaving. So in addition to the entry level skilling, a special provision for upskilling or reskilling program has been operationalized under the scheme towards improving the productivity of the existing workers in the apparel segment. So understand, the Samarth scheme is aiming to incentivize and also for providing skilling opportunities for the people under the textile industry. The implementation period of the scheme is up to March 2024, and which is the nodal ministry. Definitely, if it is intending to the textile industry, definitely it will be the Ministry of Textiles as the nodal ministry for the implementation of the Samarth scheme. Now moving on to the question of the day. Which of the following is a key function of the GST Council in India direct taxation system? Determining income tax rates, for regulating foreign direct investment, recommending tax rates for goods and services, allocating funds for social welfare programs. We have already discussed the answer. The right answer to this question is option C. So I hope today's kind of a discussion was really fruitful for you. Unless and until we meet next time, this is Prince J signing off. Thank you so much.